New Life. My name is Alex DeRosa. I'm our lead pastor, and with me is Matt Bartlett, our director of student ministries. We're going to talk a little bit more about developing relationships. But before we get into that, I just want to say that this isn't a catch-all. This isn't like everything you would ever need to develop relationships. These are just some helpful hints on how do we grow closer with our ones to show them the love of Jesus. And Matt's going to kick us off with one.
Yeah, so how do we make sure that our conversations with our ones are actually working towards building a relationship, and it's not just it just doesn't actually lead anywhere? Well, the first thing that we can do is actively listen. What does active listening look like? Well, it looks like making eye contact, picking up points in what they are talking about. When we're asking questions, we're not just asking questions that are just yes or no, but we're actively engaged in the conversation. Yes or no questions are helpful sometimes, but we're looking to go a little bit deeper. If they're talking to you about their life and the way they felt in a certain instance, you ask, well, why did you feel that way? It's going a couple layers deeper. And so it's been said that we don't really get to the heart of something until the third why. So they've answered the third why question. So dig a little deeper in a way that that lets them know that you're listening to them, and a way that's appropriate. If this is your first deep conversation with them, take it one or two layers deep. But ask those why questions. Ask those questions to get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, listening helps people know that we care for them. And that's, part of the whole goal here. So the second thing, where do we meet up with our ones? And so what is helpful in developing this relationship? And there's really three answers. We can meet them in their space. They could come to our space, or we can meet in a our space, like a third space where we just gather for a hobby that we like, or maybe at a park. So going into their space is an important thing. So just as an example, I'm developing relationships with some of my ones who like board games. And so I've invited them to New Life for board game days, which is great. And I've also accepted invitations to go to their houses to hang out, because there's something about relationships that they grow deeper whenever we step into our own spaces. And then sometimes we meet up and go somewhere else. And so that's just kind of the basic rule of thumb. You can do all three or whatever works with your schedule. But for instance, say you have a friend of yours who doesn't know Jesus, but they have kids. And so you can meet with them up where the kids are going to play, and then you can talk at the park while they're there. So yeah, it's cool to look at different ways. And I mean, in a relationship, one of the best things we can do is make it easy for them too. Like, what would be easy for you? Like, I want to build this relationship, so can I serve you in this way? Can I come to your house, or can I meet somewhere near your house so that we can kind of build this relationship, but it's also serving them at the same time?
Yeah, and so the next question that is next in line, I think obvious, is like, how often do we meet up? How often do we get together? Well, we want to make sure that it fits into our schedule comfortably, not in a selfish way, but so that we can honor the commitment that we're making, because time is a really valuable resource, and it's valuable for us, it's valuable for our one. We want to make sure that we can show up. So we want to make sure that we can honor those commitments. So we don't want to overextend ourselves. We also don't want them overextending themselves, because we want them to be comfortable. We don't want them to necessarily be thinking about the next thing that's going on in the day. We want them to be able to be engaged as well. And so we want to make sure that when we make a commitment, we can show up, because showing up develops trust. When we've had people show up in our lives, it oftentimes tells us that we can trust them, that we can give them a little bit more of ourselves and share a little bit more of the responsibility of our lives with them. We want to make sure that we're meeting up consistently, because living like Jesus isn't just a one-time deal. It's consistently showing up and building trust and building that relationship. So consistency is key. And again, we want to make sure that we're not overextending ourselves, because we have a lot of commitments in life. Time is something we don't get back. We're only ever investing it or spending it. So we have the choice to make. How do we want to invest it? Investing in our one is a really great way of investing it, but we can invest too much and then we end up with no time on the back end to recover, to think, and to really get the other things done that God has placed in our lives, the other responsibilities. So don't burn out.
Yeah, and that it's so important because relationships take time. So if you're wondering, like, how long does it take to build a relationship with someone who doesn't know Jesus so that we're ready to share with them Jesus or take the next step to get deeper with Jesus, there's no real timetable out there. Everyone's different. People's personalities are different. Some of the questions that we could ask is, how long does it take for us to trust someone? Because that's really what we're doing. We're building trust so that we can share with them what is on our hearts. We can show them we care for them. And so that sometimes takes time, and that takes months or years for some people, and sometimes people are just ready. They want relationships. And even as I look at my life, depending on what season I've been in, determines like how long it's taken. So when I was in college, I felt like it took maybe a couple days of being someone where I was willing to share my deep, dark secrets. I don't know, like I was wanting that relationships in college, but the older I get, the less I'm willing to just open up to someone for the first time. I want to take a little bit of time before I do that. So it just takes some time so we can stick with it. This isn't a quick thing. This is a long-term goal where we're building relationships to show people Jesus. And so even the example of the board game group, I know for me, since I don't see them all the time, but I see them once in a while, that makes the duration of the developer relationships take a little longer too. So the more you're with someone probably helps out as well. And the longer you invest in this, the more fruit you're going to see from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we're building these relationships, as we're investing time, like a really great question is like how do we set boundaries for our relationships with our one? One of these boundaries and the questions that could come up is, should my one be of the opposite sex? They could be. But you do have to have some healthy boundaries in place. Unless it's a family connection, like a sister or a cousin, or it could be your mom. Like for me, not my mom, but I'm a guy, so if it's my mom, that's appropriate relationship. If it's somebody, if it's a coworker, you could end up leading into and breaking some boundaries that you don't want to, because you are investing time, you're getting to know them. The natural thing for us to do is to start caring. And we want to care, but we want to care in appropriate ways. So family, friends, if your one does happen to be of the opposite sex, that's a great way to bring your spouse into it and to bring them alongside you, to partner in bringing your one into a deeper relationship or even a first-time relationship with Jesus.
In youth ministry, we've told students before, don't do missional dating. If you're a guy and you're like, man, I'm single, but there's this girl who doesn't know Jesus, maybe I can merge developing relationships with my one and finding a wife someday. That generally doesn't work as well. We don't want to mix the signals. If you care about them to know Jesus, that's the paramount thing. So do that. Don't try to look for your spouse this way. Feedback. We every time we do one of these videos, we want to hear from you as well. So if you have any questions about anything, whether it's developing relationships or discovering stories, discerning next steps, getting to know your one, helping your one know Jesus, please put the question below. In the last week of these videos, we're going to invest some time just asking questions that you ask to one another so that we can answer them. But today's feedback question, each day we want to have one specific for what we're talking about. And it says, what is or are the first names of your one? So if you're comfortable sharing, or if not, just make up a name or nickname, but share that underneath. Why? So we could be praying for them. We could even make a big list and we can be praying for one another's ones. And it's a powerful thing to pray and ask God to continue to work in their lives and open these windows for us to develop relationships so we can show people Jesus. Thank you so much again for tuning in. We'll be back in just a couple days on Friday for our next video, and we'll see you then.